इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में ये अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी, ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा, ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन ही नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to a very special edition. This is a Holi edition, and very happy Holi to all of you from Franchise India. I'm Gaurav, Marya, chairman of Franchise India Group. So today we are going to talk about how you can start a new business and make it successful. This is a series which we've been doing called Successpreneur, because anybody can become an entrepreneur, but to become a successful entrepreneur, it takes a lot of focus and belief. And that's what we're going to talk about it. And friends, we want to make this webinar very interactive. So you can use the Q&A box and ask as many questions you have. And I can answer your questions on the industry you want to make a choice, or what kind of investment you want to look at, what kind of a return on investment you want to look at, or any other feedback you want on today's webinar. So this is going to be about 25 to 30-minute webinar. We're going to talk about really the mindset. Before you start your entrepreneurial journey, what should be your mindset and how you really plan it. Then we'll get on to a little bit on how to really plan and structure and choose the right business which you want to choose. And then we get on to really journey of your startup. That's very important. And last, I'll talk about my favorite subject, which is franchising, that how you can choose the right franchise if you want to start a business. So let me start with the first question. So you can all reply on the Q&A box. Are you comfortable in English, or you want me to also use Hindi as a language to run this webinar? So please give me a feedback on Q&A box so I can know that are you looking for just in English or Hindi or both. Welcome, Mr. Sri Kumar. Sri Kumar says English, so let's stick to English and let's get started. So it's very important, the first part I always take up before you even start your entrepreneurial journey, it's about your mindset. And Franchise India last 24 years has been working towards helping people to start their business. We started in 1999 with only one idea, that we want to be a platform which can help people to start their new business. And this was a big problem. In India, we didn't have any resource. And I was myself a small business owner, and I was looking to invest myself, and I felt that there was nothing available. And it was a genuine problem. It's still a genuine problem. We all talk about startups, we all talk about thing, but if you really see, is there any organization where you can go and say, I want to buy a new business, can you help me do that? And that's where the Franchise India thought process really came in. But over the years, with Franchise India running over 1,000 exhibitions, our magazines, our digital platforms, our consulting company, our advisory network, which runs in 94 cities today in India, I still feel the kind of people who come to us, a lot of people, in a month, we will get about say 2 lakh plus people who would come to Franchise India through our shows, through our events, or our webinars, and very few actually end up buying a business. So what happens to balance of them? Why they're not able to make a decision to start their entrepreneurial journey? Why they're not able to do it? Because they're not sure. They're not sure about their strengths. They're not sure about what they really want to do. They're not sure about would this be successful for them. So a lot of uncertainty really runs over them, and they're not able to make the right decision that this is a time where they need to really start a business. And this I call the weak mindset, because entrepreneur journey needs a strong mindset. You need to have a very firm and a very clear mindset. So unless and until you have really done that your homework and you have done your research, you have really planned yourself well, then only you will be able to achieve what you want to do that. Otherwise, it never come through, and you will always be very difficult to do that. So let's understand what is the mindset and how do you really define that. The first thing I always tell that wherever you really looking to start a business, जब भी आप अपने लिए business सोच रहे हैं, decide कर रहे हैं, तो सबसे पहले एक date को fix करिए. This date is very important part of your, going towards your entrepreneurial journey. Why this date? Because this would make you prepare for it. It's like when you used to do our studies, we had the exams. We always knew that there's going to be a board, and we used to prepare ourselves. And as we come closer to the date, we are working even more harder to make sure that we are right. So first, fix your date. I have further defined date as D stands for discipline. You need to put some kind of daily discipline to do that. Like for Franchise India, when last year COVID happened, I decided that the entire organization would go into this webinars and digital presence. And we started a webinar on 23rd of March. It was not important that just we do webinars. Everybody was doing webinars. But we took a discipline and a pledge that every single day, we will bring opportunities to our entrepreneurs. We'll bring some kind of motivation to our entrepreneurs. And you will not believe, today is a Holi, but no Holi, no Diwali, no New Year's, we missed a webinar every single day. Because that's discipline, that's your discipline, and that's how you build communities. So discipline is very important. D stands for discipline. A stands for accountability. You need to set yourself accountable for what you want to achieve. T stands for training, which is very important. You need to train yourself to be an entrepreneur. This is something which you don't get in your MBA, you don't get into other education. You need to train yourself to become an entrepreneur. And E stands for encouragement. You need to encourage. Nobody outside come and encourage you on your journey of entrepreneurship. It is full of risk. It is full of anxiety. It has a lot of issues which can happen if it is not successful. So you need to really encourage yourself for your journey. So first, set your date. It can be anything. It can be maybe your birthday coming up, your mother's birthday coming up, your wife's birthday, or anybody's important date which is coming in your mind. And this brings to another big question, which I would ask everybody. How many of you, and you can use the Q&A box, has a firm date in your mind that you want to start your own business? And if you have that date, maybe 60 days from now, 90 days from now, share on the Q&A box. Because I know a lot of people join my webinars, but they don't have an idea. They are very open, they're exploring, they're just looking at it, but they're not having any certainty. I would like to see any of the entrepreneurs who have absolutely certain date in the mind that they want to start their entrepreneurial journey. Even if you are a business owner and you want to diversify, you want to look at a new business, then also you need to have a firm date you want to do that. So I would like to see if anybody has that date. And if you don't have, and then that's the problem. That's a problem because you're not even sure about your journey as an entrepreneur. So you choosing the business would never come easy, right? Because you have not made that decision doing that. So congratulations, Rajiv. Rajiv has 30 days. Now, the people like Rajiv are very few. Really see, a lot of people are joined on the webinar and only Rajiv came up and said 30 days. Like, congratulations, Rajiv. This is very, very important. To me, it happens, doesn't happen. That's not important. It's not important. And another person, Priyank, also congratulations, Priyank, for you also to do 90 days. It might be 120 days, it might be 6 months, it might be that particular date. And if you are not still sure and you're not researched enough, you can put another date, you can put up another year, but put a date in your mindset and then start working on that. Remember the date, as I said, discipline, accountability, train yourself and encourage yourself every single day. Now let's understand what happens after this. Once we have really decided on the date, we need to really set our mindset. And mindset would be dividing and defining your life goals. Very, very important. What is your life goals? Why you want to get into business? Why you want to get into entrepreneurial journey? And everybody has a very different goal and different purpose which they want to really do that. So you have to first define what is your life goal, and you have to step back and start looking at your life, which means your family, what is happening around you, what is your social commitment. All that has to be done. And what are the important events coming in your life? What is happening 3 years from now, and what do you expect your business to give you? What is happening 5 years from now, 7 years from now? Unless and until you have your life goals very clearly defined, your business goals would never fit. So your business goals can fit only when your life goals are defined. So that's very important. And this most difficult part to do. A lot of people come to me and say, why do you want to invest into the business? Because I want a good ROI. That can never be an answer. If this was an answer, there would be no great stories. These days, I am following Anil Agarwal, who built the largest commodity business globally. And he's just come on the social media. And his journey, you really see, started as a small, very, very small business owner with a very small investment. If that was the case, if he were just calculating ROI on the investment he did, he would have never been a multi-billionaire. Similarly, for every humble beginning, with a small money people start from, because their life goals were big, they were able to go further on that. If they were just on ROI, which was return on investment they're doing, they would never be able to do that. They would create maybe a miser income business. Say, for example, you have 10 lakh rupees. If you want to put 10 lakh rupees and you want return on investment, and if I say 30% was good, then you make 3 lakh rupees a year on that business, which means that you get 30,000 rupees a month. Then you say better off doing any job than putting my 10 lakh rupees. So because your life goals are not matching with return on investment, by 30% return on investment is a good ROI, but that ROI doesn't match your life goals. So this becomes frustrating for a lot of people who continue to do these small businesses, and small business for small income never enjoy that because their life goals are not matching. So you really have to understand that if you want to be somebody who's very successful. I got a message from a lady who sent me a message that said, oh, I want to start a business, but I'm very ambitious. I want to really get very high returns on that. Now, very clearly, she's looking for something which can scale. She's just not looking for a business which can give returns, basic incomes, but she's looking for a business which can multiply. So there is a different mindset to everyone. So please think over it, that what is your life goals and how you want to do that. Second thing is very important, at what risk meter you are. So which means that you're on high risk or you're low risk. Well, everybody likes low risk, high return, but that doesn't work. That never work. So you need to really define at what stage you are in. And even if you are a low risk person because you don't have that ability, say if you are on a job and you're just leaving your job and you need basic EMIs to be paid, you have kids fees to go, a lot of things, you're at a low, very, very low risk. So you cannot take a startup which can go into higher risk, higher gestation. So you need to be very, very careful that the first business you probably choose at least covers up your basic expenses. So you need to really maybe at that stage choose a business which has more stability, maybe more than scale. So you have to really also understand what is your risk appetite and how it is coming from. Third, which is very, very important, is the resources. What kind of resources you're bringing to the business? And this is very, very important. And to me, resources are just not the capital. Capital actually probably is the least part of it. And today I'm actually giving a lot of entrepreneurs the same idea that capital is this least part you bring in any business. What you bring outside that is more important. Like, for example, I define ROI in a different form. One is return on investment, but there is return on intelligence and there is a return on involvement. These are two different ROIs. I've seen business owners who come with a lot of return on involvement. They workaholic, they work hard, they're very operator, they are in the business. Because they're working so hard, they buy themselves a job, which means that they are really doing their own business and they are actually bought their own job. So that's become return on involvement kind of thing. Then there are people who are return on intelligence, which are coming and bringing a lot of their intelligence and they are able to build more value in that. And then you bring in return on capital, return on investment. So you really have to see how you're balancing all three. Are you bringing all three? Are you bringing two of them? Are you bringing only one? And what is that critical one which you bring in? And that would also define your resource planning, how you're bringing resources. You also understand your experience well. And experience is very, very important. And experience would mean that what are you bringing in the business outside money? And that to me is very, very critical. I call the 4 fits, which are strategic, financial, operational, and marketing fit. These 4 fits are very, very important. And when Franchise India consultants look at any profile, we go into deep and see these fits. And then we really define what kind of experience cycle you are coming from and how you want to do that. But remember, the mindset is very important, and eventually what you want from business. A lot of people ask me and say, what should business give you? I think business should give you only 3 things. One, it should give you stability. It should give you stability so that you are taking care of your basic needs and so on and so forth. It should give you growth. Why it should give you growth? Because if growth is not there, you will get fatigued, you will not like it, you will lose your passion. That's very important. It should grow. Third is financial freedom, which means that eventually you are able to exit from that business and make sense out of it. A company I was reading in the morning, I'm very proud of that, and I think I've not even congratulated him. But a company I looked and started my career initially was initial days. We worked with a company called Ferns and Petals. It's a flower shop run by a gentleman called Vikas Gudgudia. Small flower shop. He scaled through franchising. Obviously, Franchising India worked with him, and he built a big business on flower business. Now, nobody can think that very simple business like this, just a flower shop, can scale to become India's largest commerce on flowers and cakes, and now many other things he does in weddings and so on and so forth. Today, a big private equity fund has invested 200 crores in that company at maybe significant valuation. I've not seen the exact valuation, but it should be, to me, over 2,000 crore valuation. So look at the person who would have started a flower shop at that stage. He was not doing anything unique. He was just opening a small flower shop. And that flower shop scaled to become such a big, large business today that he's been invested by a cash investment of 200 crores. Today morning, I actually read in the news, and I'm going to congratulate him. So this is what journey of entrepreneurship is all about. So you really want that financial freedom eventually to come in, right? So always think about the business, unless and until it give you these 3 things. It gives you stability, it gives you growth, a continuous growth, and it also gives you eventually financial freedom where you can do things which you always wanted to. A lot of people come and tell me, I want to do what I am passionate about. I say, you don't do that, because sometimes passions are not right businesses. You can be passionate about photography, but you don't want to pursue as a career because it's not rewarding enough. You should get a business which can give you these 3 things so you can follow your passion. That's the cycle you should do. You should always look at businesses which can give you good stability, good growth, and also eventually a financial freedom so that you can follow your passion. Now let's get started in terms of how to choose the right business. That's very, very important. And if you have any questions, keep asking your questions in the Q&A box. And my colleague is also there, Kanika, and she is the head of the entire vertical. She actually looks after helping people who are looking to start a new business. They come and become member with Franchise India, and she runs the entire team, a very large team she has, which actually works with you on helping you to become member with Franchise India. So she will be also in touch with you to help you in terms of making the right choices and so on and so forth. So let's get started on how to choose the right business. Now, when you're choosing the business, the first rule is connect the 4 dots. This is something which I do almost every webinar. I tell how to connect 4 dots. These 4 dots are very important. First is, how do you choose the right industry? That's very, very important. And this is where our consultants work very deep with people. People come with very open, discussion. I can invest into any business which looks good and gives me good ROI. This is a statement probably we hear almost first line from everybody. But this is not the statement. This is not right, because not every business is meant for everyone, right? So it has to be, there is a uniqueness in you. There is a uniqueness in your investment. There is uniqueness in your skill. There is also uniqueness in the location you want to start. So which means that not everything would fit you. So you need to first understand the industry and why you're choosing that industry. What do you see this industry going to be in next 4 or 5 years? What is a competition telling you in the industry? What is an unseen competition coming in that industry? Sometimes there is something disruption happening. Today, there is a full page news covered in Economic Times only on disruption. So which means disruption is real, that businesses would be disrupted. So you need to be planning yourself that if you are getting into a business which is going to be helping you achieve life goals, what disruption can come, and can this industry be ready for handling the disruption? So that's very, very important, right? So anybody who was investing into the classic, or I mean, a lot of people used to call me last year and say, get me auto dealership. I say, which auto dealership? Conventional fuel or electric? And they say, no, conventional, who buys electric is very far. They don't know what is going to hit them. They don't know what is going to hit them. Similarly, Web 3.0. Web 3.0 is the reality, which means this whole metaverse and all these things which are going to be done. No more we will be maybe on the regular screen on the phone. That would also get outdated. It would get on the virtual world. So a lot of that things are happening, and it would happen very, very fast. So if businesses are not getting ready for the future, they would get redundant. I know a lot of business owners, a lot of large companies in last 5-6 years, people who were respected in the corporate India have actually become bankrupt. Why they've become bankrupt? They were not bad business owners. They were running their businesses for 30, 40, 50 years. But last suddenly 5-6 years, it's all disrupted. All disrupted. Even the man who built Indian retail, which is Kishore Bayani, today is sitting on the punch where all his businesses are collapsed. Right. So I have seen Kishore Bayani's growth in 2000 early. He was a golden boy of Indian retail story, and almost every third day on Economic Times cover page. And this was always a privilege to meet Kishorji. But look at what happened in this whole cycle. Somehow he missed the digital game. He missed the digital game. He was first hit by the Amazons and the Flipkarts and likes of them. Now, what I call the quick commerce. Quick commerce is 10-minute delivery, 10-minute delivery to the. All those disruptions actually put his business in pressure, and he was not able to really be ready for that. And today he's fighting court battles between Amazon and Reliance, and both giants are trying to take whatever is left over in future. But to me, it's a sad story of a business which were not able to see the future. It was a future group not able to see the future because they were not able to quickly turn around and become digital. While I have a highest regard for him because he's actually given us the retail industry. But this happens with conventional businesses. Sometimes they are not ready to see future. So first is understand the industry, what industry you want to go, and maybe choose 3 or 4 industries. Sometimes people, when come to Franchise India, we give 3 or 4 industries. Then we get on to brand. What the brand you want to really choose, why you're choosing this brand over the competitive brand, right? So do an apple to apple comparison. Why this brand over any other brand, right? So that's very, very important. Don't rush just because you're impressed by something. Go into deeper understanding of that business. Then you have to also set your financial goals with that business which you're choosing, with the industry, with the brand, and your financial goals. And finally, do a very deep study of your micro market. What is your micro market telling? What is happening if you're from Gwalior? Then what is happening in Gwalior? How people are consuming? What is going to happen? How big is the market? What is the total addressable market? Then only you can get a small share out of that addressable market. If the addressable market itself is very small, sometimes people come and choose a very niche business in a very tight marketplace. So you're actually going wrong because you're taking a very niche business and you are also going into a very, very small addressable market. So it becomes even more smaller. So you need to really see how you are stacking this up. So this becomes connecting 4 dots. That's very, very important. Then you need to get on to second part. And this is what I call the 60-40 rule. Is how do you going to fund your business? First, never do mistake of over leveraging. Over leveraging is dangerous for small businesses or mid-sized businesses. Absolutely dangerous. Even for larger businesses, it's actually worse. I don't understand how we all look at banking in a lending in small businesses. I mean, with the kind of interest rates, no business can survive. We don't have margins, so much margins in most of the businesses that we can pay cost of capital. And that's why defaults happen. That's why NPAs happen. That's why people have to really do other things. And earlier days, these loans were fine because people used to do a lot of tax, things and all that were possible. But now GST and other things, all that has gone. That regime is finished. So small businesses have to have work on genuine profits and dividends coming from their businesses. And if you have a big cost of capital sitting on that, and sometimes entrepreneurs take soft loans at very high pricing. And sometimes they take soft loans from their friends, family, or people like that at 24%, 25%. You're never going to give back. And you'll not be able to sustain. So don't over leverage yourself. Even if you have to start very, very small, put with your own maximum money, and that's something which you need to do that, or do a partnership, bring in somebody like-minded who can also co-invest with you. That's more important. So equity is much better than actually taking a debt. So that's very important. So understand why you are doing that and what is the kind of investment it requires. And then do a 60-40 rule. 60-40 rule means every business has a lot of gestation. So you always need to put 60% in your capex, your initial investment. Very well defined, don't overboard. And 40% you need to keep that capital, balance capital, for your operating capital, which means that you need to have OPEX. 70 or more percent of businesses die because they're undercapitalized. It was never about the hard work. It was never about the idea. It was never about the entrepreneur. It was never about the location, business, economy. It was never about that. It was always about being undercapitalized. So you need to really see that you are adequately capitalized to sustain that business model and so on and so forth. Then you get into the next level. You need to draw your business plan and financial plan. That's very important. You cannot jump into business. Even buying a franchise, people don't do their own business plan. But every single franchise has a very unique behavior, which means that if you have 100 franchisees for a particular company, all 100 are different level of performance. People who perform the best has their own business and a financial plan. I always say that two types of entrepreneurs come to us or come to the brands when they want a franchise. One come and say, what are you going to do for me? I'm taking your franchise. How are you going to make me make money? This is one type. This is A type. And B type comes, I know what I want to do with your brand, and I know how I can make money on this. The B ones survive. A ones fail. So because they don't know, they are actually driving the car, but actually asking for instructions for back. And these are the people, the second one, B, are driving the car and they know the direction. So it's a difference between these two. So I always choose these because they're very clear. They have their own business plan, financial plan to go in that. Then you need to really understand your legal contracts. Very important. Should never be ignored. Even if you're doing a partnership with your, relative or a dearest friend or anybody else, you need to have a good contract with them. It might be tough to go to your best friend from school days who are doing business with you, or your colleague in office, which you really have every day, a lot of discussions, drink out and so on and so forth. You don't sign a contract with them, but you have to have courage to go and tell him that, look, this is our professional journey and I want to define everything on paper and I want to sign the contract. This is your partnerships. Then you have to do contracts with the franchise company which you're signing. Then you need to do contracts with the property you're taking. All the other contracts also have to be done and very well defined. And a good professional you should use. Franchise India runs a full legal advisory system to help in that. Then it comes to really selecting your team. And to me, the trick lies in bringing co-founders. This way, you really see these days, nobody's going alone. They are going with co-founders. Even if you are investing, you need to really select those first three people who essentially would become your co-founders. They believe in your story. They believe in your vision. They believe to do something together with you. Maybe you are a little ahead to think about that idea and bring the resources, but they're coming along with you. Why I always say this, that co-founder is very important, because you need to, at a certain stage, really start transferring responsibilities. And you need to, if you want to do your scale journey, if you don't want to do a scale journey, all your life, you want to sit only on that business, then maybe you not need it. But if you really want to do a scale journey, which should be the idea, you need to really bring some good co-founders. They might be your early employees, but bring them with some kind of a passion and foresightedness that they are going to be also sometime equity holder. Then let's get into the 4 cycles of business. When you start your business, that is a time where people create most of the noise. They are most excited. They want to tell the world, this is my business. They go out and pick pictures everywhere in the world. They do a big grand launch. They want to do the PR. They want to do this. I rather discourage it. I discourage that. This is not the time to celebrate. Go out and make sure on that thing. And they actually counter me and say, why? I want to tell people this is my business. I want to get more customers. I want to do the marketing. And so I say, you are not ready. And your business is not ready. So if you're not ready and your business is not ready, this would be foolish time to really do these kind of activities. So you need to really first 3 months incubate your business, learn your business, address surprises which would come every single day to you. Every single day would give you a surprise. And people do a grand launch And then after 3 months, I see them shutting the business because they are not able to handle surprises. So first 3 months, you need to really tell yourself, I'm just a learner. I would go every day to take challenges and address every challenge every day. Learn every single department in my business. Every smallest thing which happens in my business, I need to do it myself. So I'm actually in the business learning every single day, making notes, making processes, making systems, and stabilizing everything. So this really is the first phase of incubation. And then it goes down to the second phase where you really start stabilizing your cash flows. Your cash flows are stabilized. You are no more burn happening in your business. Maybe it takes 3 months, 6 months. And then you get into the third stage, which is your growth stage. That's where you start enjoying. That's where you start doing marketing, bring your creativity out and take this business next level. And finally, you go down to what I call sustainable business model. Sustainable business model means that at this stage, you're not required in the business can run by itself. When I say you are not required, which means that you don't have to do an operator role. You still can do what I call the on the business role, but you're no more required in the business. You can be on the business doing that entire. At that stage, you started building value. And this is where really, again, the mindset has to change. Some people get into a trap of income businesses. They want to make income business. They want every month 3, 4, 5, 10 lakh rupees from their business. They're always thinking about how do I get more out of my business I can take back and buy a house and buy a car and buy this and buy that, or a holiday abroad and so on and so forth. So this is very income mindset. They're not thinking about building value. And that means that if you are always in income business, that would never remain same. Business would get fatigued, business would change, incomes would drop, margins would drop, a lot of things would happen. But only when you're thinking value creation, which means that you build something very sustainable, can be transferred, you are thinking about creating an event which can then take you to wealth creation, which I started from. The wealth creation is very important. So this is very important. And that stage, when you have built value, which means business is running without you, it's run by processes, it's systems, it's profitable, it can be controlled. At that time, you can even look at exit from that same business. So summarizing this, always think about the industry you want to choose, what is the horizon, how the future is going to look like. Always de-risk yourself, be very strong on the legal and compliances. Take a very holistic approach to the business model. Just don't take a very short-term approach on a business model. Also understand your personal risk management. If this doesn't happen, the plan A gets plan B and gets the plan C. That's very, very important. And bring a lot of important data before you make a decision. And this data comes from Franchise India. Franchise India has so much of data. We have 1,000 brands today available on franchise opportunities. And we advise you on taking a unit franchise, area franchise, or even a master franchise, depending on where you are. So it's very, very important that when you are researching, you take a lot of real data of past performance of franchise brand which you're taking, about how they're going to give you support, what kind of a supply chain is going to happen, what kind of margin needs to be done. All that, it needs a lot of attention. And that's where our program, Advantage program, really comes in. The Advantage program is you become a member with Franchise India. And even you become a member with Franchise India for 1 year, we put a consultant, senior consultant, sometimes people with 20 years, 25 years of experience. They first work with you to find these 8 fits in you. What is your strategic fit, financial fit, operational fit, and the marketing fit? We also take 4 secondary fits. What is the maturity level you're coming from? What is your objectivity, your experience, and your creativity? So depending on these 8 odd fits, we really shortlist the right industry. Then on industry, we chose 4 industries, and then we choose about 10 odd brands. And then we organize a lot of discussions one-on-one with decision makers of these brands. So you get into full understanding. You get your understanding on the brands. I've seen people who have started with Franchise India, got a new notebook, and before they bought the business, the notebook was full. They made a lot of notes. They went on to talking to a lot of companies, researched a lot, and every time they came and did a lot of comparatives. If I invest here, this is what looks good, and this in this. And then you also have to have a deeper negotiation. I always say that information, evaluation, and negotiation are 3 cycles which you need to follow. Information is when you attend our webinars and talk about different opportunities. Evaluation is evaluating yourself. And third is a hard negotiation and a right kind of a legal structure which you need to do. So friends, this was today's special webinar, and I will see if there is any question. Okay, there are some questions which I can take, and you can go out and just keep putting your questions quickly, and I'll be happy to take few more questions if they're there. When we choose, Mr. Murgvel is asking when we choose a company operated business, how much involvement of franchisee is needed? I mean, can we trust the brand? Now, this is a very touchy question, very, very touchy question. And I'll give you a very straight answer. I have seen a lot of risk in franchisee owned company operated businesses, a lot of risk. And you have to understand the parameter of it. So if you are running your own business, you're getting the maximum margin, let's be honest, right? Because you are in control, you're running your own business. But when you go to somebody and say, look, you run the business for me, I put capital, you're not going to get the same margin because they're going to have operating cost to run that. And if somebody comes and tells me that, look, I will run your business, which means that I will run, company would say, I will run the operations. You don't have to do anything. You just put the money and I'll give you fabulous returns. Then it puts me in a question, how this is going to happen? Why would they do it? Why would they not look at alternative way of running, raising money? What is the reason they want to give you this very high return on a business which they are running? So this sometimes to me is greed move. And these greed moves put you in problem. I have also invested into companies which had that strategy, and I know I suffered a lot. So you have to be very, very careful when you choose a franchise-owned company-operated business. While there are great companies also doing it, Tata Croma is doing franchise-owned company-operated, and many other large companies are doing. Pantaloon is doing, Zodio is doing, other companies are doing. But they don't promise moon to you. They give you very, very moderate return, which means that they would give you 14, 15, 16% IRR returns, which is higher than your FDs, higher than any other passive investment products you have, but it's not going to be active business return. So if your active business return expectation is 35% on return on capital, then that's not going to come in FOCO. If anybody is telling you that, then it's telling you lies and wrong perspective, because there is no business I would have seen which can be operated by somebody else and still deliver a return on that space, on that entire thing. So hope I gave you my straight answer. I feel that that's very, very important for anybody to understand. Okay, now next question again coming is it advisable to invest in a company operated model when the brand provides you X percentage, 4, 5, 6% on total sales achieved as a return? Now, percentage of sales is determined on the throughput of that business. So I am not interested in 4, 5, 6. I'm more interested to know how much is sales projection, because that 4% would determine what kind of a return you will get and what predictability is coming to project that forecast. Which means if somebody comes and say, I'm going to give you 10 lakh rupees sales would come and I'll give you 4%, which means that you make 40,000 rupees on that. Now, first question I want to ask is, where is this 10 lakh rupee coming from? Can you demonstrate that you are doing in some other place in a similar kind of location, 10 lakh rupees? So unless and until I have a predictability, I cannot go out and benchmark that. Some companies do it. Domino's, a lot of the large companies do revenue share businesses, but there is a predictability. Domino's today runs on 69,000 per unit per month sales cycle. So anytime a Domino is giving 8% return on sales, I could quickly calculate backward on their national average, which is public company, at a 69,000 is making interesting deal or no. So you need to really understand the business model. And that's where really Franchise India comes in, because we have a lot of data. We have a strong data. We can also give you industry parameters. If somebody comes and tells me that, look, that I'm doing so much, then I will question that why their industry is not doing and you're doing it, right? So sometimes, but some companies outperform, right? The numbers, if you look at a company like Manyavar, I was talking to the CEO, their numbers outbreak the industry. They're far higher than any other fashion industry player in the market. So some are great performers, but I will still go with the industry numbers. I will still like to take the industry benchmarks. And all these industry benchmarks are very easily available. And there are a lot of scientific tools which can tell you what is the throughput going to be and what kind of revenue share you can really get. So friends, this is a very important aspect for you to take a right decision. A right decision comes from a right thought process. It comes from a lot of time and research you put, and that would give you confidence to take your own decision, and you can back that decision because now you know what you're getting into. So never should be a situation where you are doing business where you're not completely in the business. You understand the business well, you understand the industry well, you have well researched on that, then only take the decision. And if in your journey, Franchise India can help you taking that very important decision of your life, we'd like to welcome you as a member. So become a member with Franchise India. That would be probably your first step towards your entrepreneurial journey. Then also, we don't advise you to rush. Give at least 3 to 4 months and work with our consultants. Go step by step every single situation. Attend our shows, meet our companies, attend a lot of meetings, webinars, seminars, all that. You do that and then come down to sit down on that thing. Have your best people around you, which means your family, your friends, you're somebody who can be always your critic. Go to him also. Ask. The critics give you what you never want to hear, but maybe there is something meaningful in that. And then take your decision what business you want to get started. So thank you very much. Thanks for joining. I hope I was able to add some value in your thinking process on this very special day of Holi. And if you are looking for any other more questions, I will write my direct number also, or you want to give me a feedback on this or any other area which you want us to help. So there is a business hotline number which my colleague has already put. It's called 971-7683-838. So again, 971-7683-838. That's the number. That's our business hotline number. Reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to take the discussions and with you in your entrepreneurial journey. So thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Thank you very much for joining this webinar.